What's up, YouTube? Pilot 83 here. I am about to show you how to do a basic RNAV landing in the Airbus A320. We are in one of my most favorite planes. We are in the beautiful Air Canada livery. So there are two types of RNAVs. There are the more common one that uses the track heading and the FPA, and then there is the fully managed RNAV. So both of these technically in real life would require charts, and the second one, which I'll do a video on soon, you're definitely going to need the charts to do this. But we can do the fully managed one without the charts. And I figure this would be great for a lot of people who don't have access to like Navigraph description or charts for the airport approach and all that stuff. So this is fully capable of being done without that. So this is going to just show you how to do a basic RNAV for those who want a little more realism. So I am just now entering my RNAV approach. So what we need to do is, it says first you need to set up your flight. I prefer always setting up an IFR flight. You need to select your approach type and select the RNAV runway and figure out where your waypoint is for where your RNAV approach starts. And once you're there, you need to be at that altitude. So mine starts at Jackson, which we just passed, but it was at 14,300 feet. So what we do from there is we click constraints, and constraints will show us these altitudes that we have to be at as we're coming in to land. This is similar to ILS landing. The difference is once we put this plane into its approach phase, it's going to go by itself to each of these waypoints, dropping itself down by itself to these altitudes. So normally, and I don't know why it hasn't been doing it lately, normally it would give you all the, see, I got the altitude here, but for some reason it does give you altitude below a certain point here. I don't know what's going on there. Once we hit Larry, I don't know, but we can still see it on here where it's 2,600 feet. So we just entered this, so I should have already done this. So we need to go ahead and go to performance. We need to activate approach phase. Then once we have activated approach phase, we need to put our lowest altitude at the end of this in. So for me, it is 2,600 feet. But when I engage this, it's going to show me my next waypoint altitude and keep it there. It's not going to drop down to this 2,600 feet until we are able to be at that. Alright, so let's go down 2,600 feet, activate it. Did I activate that? Alright. I think it's waiting for us to get to Maddox. Then after Maddox, it's gonna do it. Because Jackson and Maddox are still the same altitude, so once we get past Maddox, maybe that's why. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think it's waiting for us to get to Maddox. Let's go back to flight plan, and Maddox should be up here. So we're and Maddox, there's Jackson. Okay, so once we hit Glavin, we should be able to do this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to make sure you're also in arc mode. Make sure you have your constraints on. You want to activate your approach phase. Might automatically pop it up here for us since I've already clicked it. Let's see what it does once it hits. Maddox right here to Glavin. Let's see. Yeah, so it did do it automatically. Okay. So you see I have my altitude set at 2600. But down here, you'll see where it says 10,700, which is my next waypoint. And as I keep hitting each waypoint, it's going to keep dropping down by itself the plane's altitude to these altitudes, all the way down to the 2,600. And it will follow that path. Now, when we get to our second from last waypoint, so when we get to Bazaar, or I'm sorry, Shell, it would be. So when we get to Shell, our second from last waypoint, we will then click the plane into approach mode, and we'll go on from there. So the biggest things to remember is you need to find out where your RNAV approach starts. You need to find that waypoint, either the world map, or you need to find it here in your system. You'll see the plane is descending just fine. We will watch the descent, and if we need to take over and manage our speed, we will. But in real life, this here would actually say your last altitude. It would actually say 2,600 feet. Even though it wouldn't be dropping to that, it would say that. So you now see how this is coming up in purple in this box. And it was just down here. We're going to be hitting this right on time. So like I said, so you got to know when to start this, because it won't work right if you don't know when to start it. I know on mine that when let me show you, flight plan, I know when I went to my arrivals, sometimes it'll be this waypoint, but I knew from when I set this up that my RNAV transition I set up was Jackson. So I knew that Jackson was going to be my transition point into my RNAV. So that's how I knew that's where I needed to start it at. Alright, so you'll see we're now there, and as we pass through Glavin, it's then gonna pop up 8,700 down here. And like I said, you can set this up all through here. It's very simple to do, and you can set it up also in the world map if you want to do it that way. You know, just depending on how much knowledge you have of the A320 or how much knowledge you have working the FMC. Either way is fully fine and acceptable, and it will work the same exact way. So we're almost to Glavin waypoint. So this is going to drop again. I'm going to change my range down to this. Boom. And there's just a couple more things that we will have to go over, and we will be on the ground. We are just a few minutes out. Alright, now you see how it just dropped to 8,700 down here as we pass that waypoint. And then as soon as we start getting within that range, this is going to come up, and it's going to do that all the way down until we hit 2,600. So, and I'm sorry guys, not Shell, Bazaar would be our second from last waypoint. So, couldn't really tell at that distance. They're all bunched up. So, your second to last waypoint is when you will click the approach mode right here. So, when I get to Bazaar, because Shell's my last waypoint before the runway, when I get to Bazaar, I will then click on the approach mode, and I will show you what happens then. But yeah, my bad guys. It was kind of hard to tell at the range I had for there. It looks like I had one more after that. But I see it was just KATL for Atlanta. But yeah, this is how you can do this with no chart. I am using no chart doing this. I do use charts a lot when I fly. That's why I keep my laptop nearby. A lot of y'all saw my setup. I use Sky Vector a lot, you know, for realism. And you can learn a lot from this stuff, from using these charts. Learning how to read flight charts and airport charts, approach charts, nav charts. Learning how to read all these different things and your vectors and all that is, I mean, it's real good stuff. And there's plenty of really good YouTube videos to watch out there that will teach you this stuff and make it much more simplistic than I could when it comes to these, because there's still a lot of stuff I have trouble understanding on some of these, and I'm even, you know, currently working on my PPL, you know, but a lot of this stuff, you know, is above general aviation. You know, this is your ILS training stuff, instruments, which I plan to get eventually after this. If money allows, guys, if money allows. Alright. So now you see 2,600 just pop down at the bottom. Which that is our lowest altitude it's going to put us at. You know, and RNAV's really good because not all airports have ILS, so RNAV is a great alternative. And also, in reality, a lot of times ILS runways in the real world, sometimes they're being worked on or they're down, things like that. You have a second option. You have RNAV you can go to. Like I said, so you see it down there, 2,600. Finally showing that. Like I said, things are being weird because I'm not sure why this one's got its back increasing, then this one's got its back decreasing. So at least this is working correctly. So it's still bringing us down to that 2,600 feet, which all this is 2,600 feet. Larry is our straight approach in. Boom. And there's our runway. So we are close. So let's go ahead and change this down to 20 miles. And like I said, once we get to our second from last waypoint, so there's the runway, there's Shell, then the second one from there is Bazaar. So once we get there, we're going to click on approach. And we need to turn on our landing lights. We are below 10,000 feet. Oh, I never even turned them off. Too busy focused on teaching y'all stuff, guys. But the seatbelts are off. Pretty night though, guys. I mean, look at it. A lot of people flying too. I'm always happy when I see a lot of simmers out in the sim. It shows that the sim is doing good. Even with all its freaking issues, it's still doing good. All right, so we should be able to see our runway any minute. It's right over there. I've been to this airport many times in real life. Here comes our 2600. That's going to be our final altitude drop. Our speed still looks good. So we are hitting Larry right on time, exactly at where we needed to be at 2600. For our final approach. Here we go. So we'll go ahead and put down landing gear. Start bringing down some flaps. All right, straight ahead. Go ahead and start controlling our speed. Bringing this on down. We'll go get it down to 160. What did I do that for? There we go. All right, so you see the runway straight ahead of us. Another set of flaps. Set. Alright, we'll go ahead and put her in. We're a little heavy. We'll go ahead and put her in at 140. Let's do 145. Just because we're heavy. Final set of flaps. All Alright, keep an eye on this because we are almost to Bazaar. And once we hit Bazaar, we're going to hit approach. And then a brick should show up here, showing us how aligned we are with our flight, or our slope, our glide slope. Always right there. Here comes Bazaar. Click approach. We now have approach navigation appear, glide slope appear. Alright, and I forgot. So the glide slope bricks don't appear like they should in real life when you click nav. So I believe someone said, yeah, if you click LS, it appears, which is weird because in real life you wouldn't click this to see this brick. You know, normally you see the magenta diamonds as you're coming in, which you would line up. But they don't appear automatically, so you have to click LS to see this brick. And as you can see, we are currently under the glide slope, which is good because we don't want to be above it. It means we're too high. But like I said, you'll see this here, approach navigation, so that is perfect. So now we're just waiting to capture the approach for the glide slope. So we should capture her any minute, and then from there she should bring us down the rest of the way. So almost captured. Come on. And she's going to bring us down, guys. As soon as she comes down there and we capture her, she's going to bring us on down. As you see she's doing now. Have your brakes ready.
1,000.
Remember to turn off your autopilot. We're going to go ahead and let it go because she's bringing us in a little too low.
400. 400. 100, 200, 200,
Go ahead and idle off your throttles.
100, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard 5,
Brakes on. An alright landing. Wasn't the best, but it was okay. I haven't done one of those in a while in this plane, so to get that on the first attempt, I will take it. But guys, I'm Pilot 83. I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions about how to do this, let me know. This is just a simple way of doing an RNAV without having to use a chart. But as always, guys, happy flying. I love doing tutorials for y'all. Hope to see y'all guys in the air. Peace. If you made it this far, thank you so much. If you like this video and you feel like I earned your subscription, please hit that subscribe button and that like button so you don't miss out. Until next time, guys, see you in the air.